Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for this fantastic series all about the menopause. I have two fantastic guests with me. I have women's health and wellness coach Nicola Peaty, and we also have the fabulous, my friend, menopause coach Angela Wilkins-Green. My name's Jamie. I'm the founder of a company called Reaches, which is a mental health provider, and I'm kind of ready to get stuck into the conversation about menopause. So let's start with the title of this first episode, which is I don't feel like myself anymore, which I think a lot of women can probably relate to. So first of all, I'm gonna put this one to Angela. Is this something that you hear from the clients that you work with? And what is a bit of advice that you would share?
Yes, a simple answer, yes, it is. We hear it all the time. I'm sure Nicola will agree with me. One of the first things that women recognize when they start to recognize anything is happening is that they don't feel like themselves anymore. And I think that can come in a huge array of different symptoms that might crop up for women. For some women, it will be physical symptoms, but for a lot of women, especially in the early stages of coming into perimenopause, it will be psychological changes. So it will be things that come up like starting to feel a bit more anxious. When you're doing things that you've been doing for a long time that have felt okay, and then all of a sudden it starts to not feel quite so okay, a little bit of forgetfulness coming up at work, and just subtle changes that happen in the beginning that we might put down to stress. So, yes, simple answer is we hear it all the time. And I think my biggest piece of advice to women, especially in their late 30s, early 40s, if you're starting to feel different in any way, that's your signal to start doing some research, starting to get some help. Don't leave it. Don't think it's stress. Don't just assume it's something else that's going on in your life. My biggest piece of advice is now is the time. Do your research, start asking questions.
Brilliant. Nicola, would you add to anything there?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with everything Angela just said. I would add that I like to lean into the science, and when women understand the new biology that they're about to go through, then they will appreciate why these changes are happening. It's not just oh, I start to feel a bit different. You are actually going to be different. You've got a new biology, and three things that I explain with that is that your estrogen is on your decline. When you know that estrogen is responsible for over 400 processes in your body, from your top of your head, your brain, your heart, your muscles, your bones, everything, then there's no wonder that you're going to feel different. And like Angela said, actually, one of the first hormones to decline is progesterone, and that's your chill hormone. And that's why you will feel the anxiety. And some people get the heart palpitations with it. And the other thing to understand is that your gut microbiome that houses your serotonin, that good mood regulator, that's going to change too. So there's no wonder that you're not going to feel like yourself. And once you start to understand those facts, then you go, okay, I don't need to be as scared, but I do now need to learn a little bit more of what to do.
Got it. So from the perspective of someone that is extremely busy, right? Because this is the period that you're talking about is normally when someone is at the absolute peak of their career. And when things start to pop up like this, especially if they're subtle, they're going to ignore them. What advice would you have for women that are entering this stage? Do you think it's something that they should just educate themselves about anyway, regardless, so that they can start to spot these things happening? Angela?
Well, I think we do all have to take some responsibility for our own health. I mean, if we think about where we are, especially here in the UK, with the state of our NHS at the moment, as much as we all love them, they are not giving us the support that we necessarily need. So we do all have to take some responsibility and step up. But we also need others to help around us. So I'm specifically thinking about organizations and what can they do to help us understand. I really do believe, and it is coming in, that organizations will have to step up and provide training, support, help to women in the workplace. This is coming, especially if you are a large organization with more than 250 employees. You are going to have to do something. So organizations can do a great deal to help us. And that might be starting small. It might be starting with some lunch and learns, opening up the conversation, making it feel normal within the organization to talk about perimenopause and menopause. And I think an important point here for organizations to think about is the difference between perimenopause and menopause into postmenopause. And to help women understand that difference, organizations will need to understand that difference for themselves because it happens so much earlier than any of us expect. There's women out there in their early 40s, it's what happened to me, that didn't know, had never heard of the word perimenopause. So organizations, if you can step up and help to educate the women that are already in your workplace that don't know that this is coming, that is going to be a game changer for the women in your organization and for you as an organization who are going to help those women stay on top of their roles, so that they don't get to that place where they've left it 2 years and they've started to slowly decline. That will be impacting your business. So the more you can do now, the better it is for the long term of everybody.
Do you think the majority of organizations take quite a reactive approach to this? Because by the way you're talking, it feels like you don't think that companies are doing necessarily enough right now. Do you think most are taking more of a reactive approach to this subject?
I think if you put it in the context of what's going on, is that we call it pre-Davina, post-pre-Davina. So Davina did her documentary and she literally sort of made the awareness almost obligatory. Off the back of that, there's been campaigns now that are now saying workplaces, schools and GPs now need education and training. But that hadn't happened and it's still evolving. So if you think about women and GPs that do not know and have not ever been taught about the menopause, then we need to play catch up. It's, and to say that, women might be going through menopause is like a teenager saying they may be going through puberty. But it's the same thing. It's going to happen. And yet you would never think that a GP or at school, you would never teach about puberty. Now, this is harder. Menopause is like puberty in reverse. And it comes at a time when a woman is so unbelievably busy and it has this stealth approach. It's so subtle and it's so unnerving. And then, companies reacted. We have to do a menopause policy. We have to get a couple of people in talking about it. That doesn't just then tick a box and everybody's okay. And the other thing is, I can't tell you that small gestures are gratefully received by women because we don't expect much. So, and we have kind of got this mentality is we just got to get on with it. We haven't got time. And anything that anybody offers in the way of really good advice and support, little things, little adaptations, and just an understanding and real appreciation that this is real, I think will go so far to help women with this.
So I sell to organizations and I sell something in the well-being based industry, and I understand how much of a challenge that is. The main reason that is a challenge is because getting decision makers to get on board with something like this is extremely hard. And the only way I have found to do it is to find ways to demonstrate that there is a pain that the organization suffers if this thing is allowed to manifest. So can we cover a couple of those points? Well, on an organizational level, if this is something that is ignored, what happens? What could happen?
Well, the stat is 1 in 10. 1 in 10 leave a job. And there's horrible stats. There's horrible stats about divorce, taking their life. I mean, it's, so many women turn to GPs because they think they need to go on antidepressants. Now, there's a time and a place they might need it, but actually what they need is menopausal support. So, and the other thing is that women will suffer in silence unless somebody reaches out and is proactive and says, we've got you. We understand this. We're ahead of the game and we appreciate you and we really value you. That's the difference. That's the subtle difference where they actually don't just, they write something down and present it. They live and they breathe it and they mean it.
Yeah. And I think you have to look. You actually have to go and look and listen and watch the women in your team and see how their behavior is changing over time. It only takes you to notice, to see what's happening. I was one of those women who walked away from a 25-year career. We're not making this up. It's not a story we're telling for headlines. This is the truth. This is what is happening to women all around the world. It's extremely distressing for the women. It's extremely distressing for their families who are watching them going through it, and their friends and their colleagues, and people don't know what to do. So organizations really do just need to wake up and to notice what's going on around them, because when they start looking, they'll realize how obvious it actually is.
I'm going to give you
I
one
think,
example. Sorry, Jenny.
please.
One example is just some of the women that I've worked with that says, they've arrived at work first thing in the morning and they haven't slept because sleep issues is a massive thing. They will feel that morning anxiety and heart palpitations. They might get to work, and people talk about hot flushes, and that is one thing, but actually it's the brain fog. I can't concentrate on this one thing. I am halfway through a presentation. I've totally forgotten that person's name. It's just gone. And we kind of laugh about it, but bit by bit, this just ebbs away at their confidence. And they're thinking, what's happening to me? This is really unnerving. And, and you just need to say, take a minute. It's all right. We've got you. And if you're surrounded by people that really get it and understand it, you just go, okay, sorry, I'm just having one of those, and we're good. That's just one example of one individual woman in a workplace is doing her best, but it's like a swan, isn't it? Underneath, they're paddling away, trying to look calm, but they're not necessarily. Sorry, had to say that.
Oh, that's great. Look, I think in this mini series, we're going to be grabbing organizations and shaking them and trying to kind of wake them up to the reality that, as you said, this is not made up. This is a real issue, and it has massive consequences for the business. I want to circle back round a little bit back to the individual level. Have you got any advice for individuals that are experiencing some of the symptoms of perimenopause or menopause? Some small things that they can do to feel centered and anchored again. Angela?
Yeah, so I'm going to come at this from a self-care point of view. So I'm not thinking about the practicalities of, what we're going to do for our hot flushes. There is lots we can do, and there is lots of research out there that you can go and find out for yourself. Go and have a look. There is loads of help out there. Both Nicola and I can help you with the practicalities. But actually, it all comes down to how you look after you. And how much time are you giving and focusing on who you are as a person? This isn't just about symptoms. This is about what those symptoms are bringing out in you, and all of that underlying stuff that you've been holding on to for all this time, because that's what we do as women. We get on with it. We hold on to everything. We put it in a box. We push it down. And unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever way you want to look at it, menopause makes us face up to it all. It brings it all to the surface. Like Nicola said earlier, this is essentially us going through puberty again, backwards. And so all that stuff we might have been hanging on to, even from our childhood and our teenage years, it is going to come back. So from a self-care point of view, I encourage women to lean into it. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. This is your body telling you it's time to start listening again. It's time to start putting you at the top of your to-do list. And it is time to give yourself a break and go, what do I need? Ask yourself the question, what do I need?
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you so much. I think it was a great first episode, and I can't wait for episode number 2. Thank you both.
Thank you.